Fake HOA police came to arrest Black man, but he's the most feared FBI agent. It started with a knock on the door. Sharp, unfriendly, the kind of knock that wasn't asking permission. It was demanding obedience. When the Black man opened it, 3 uniformed men stood there, badges glinting, claiming to be from the HOA police. They said he had violated community codes, and they were here to arrest him. Neighbors peeked from behind their blind, whispering. But what nobody knew, not the fake officers, not the smug HOA president standing at the curb, was that this man was no ordinary homeowner. He was the most feared FBI agent in the country. And tonight, mask would fall. Brookstone Estates looked perfect on the surface. The lawns were cut to regulation height, the fences painted the same pale white, and flower beds bloomed with identical roses chosen by the homeowner association. From the outside, it was quiet, pristine, and orderly. But if you asked the people who actually lived there, many would tell you the truth. Perfection came at a price, and that price was Gregory Holloway. Gregory was the HOA president, a man who wore polo shirts tucked into khakis like a uniform, sunglasses perched on his head even at sunset. He didn't just enforce rules, he relished them. Every chipped paint, every misplaced trash can, every car parked an inch too far from the curb was fuel for his crusade. Neighbors whispered about him, but no one ever challenged him directly, not unless they wanted fines, harassment, or worse. Until Jordan Cross moved in. Jordan Cross was different from the others. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a quiet presence that drew eyes but discouraged conversation. He had moved into Brookstone just 3 months ago. He didn't attend the block party. He didn't wave excessively at neighbors. He didn't ask Gregory for permission before repainting his shutters a deep bold blue instead of the regulation beige. To Gregory, this was disrespect. To Jordan, it was just life. What no one in Brookstone knew was that Jordan wasn't just a private man. He was living a life that demanded secrecy. For years, he had worked cases that never made the news, operations that dismantled gangs, exposed corruption, and brought down men who thought themselves untouchable. He was used to staying in the shadows, and yet even shadows attracted predators. Gregory had already made Jordan his next target. It began with fine. One morning, Jordan found a slip tucked under his doormat. Violation. Shutters not HOA-approved color. $200 fine. A week later, violation. Garbage bins visible for more than 30 minutes. $150 fine. Then, violation. Lawn length inconsistent. $100 fine. Jordan ignored them. He paid his actual bill. He kept his property clean. He knew harassment when he saw it. But Gregory wasn't satisfied. His pride demanded more. One evening, in the back of the community clubhouse, he hatched a plan with 3 men he'd hired for security. They weren't real officers, but Gregory didn't care. He gave them uniforms stitched with fake patches, shiny knockoff badges, and a beat-up SUV with HOA Enforcement Division spray painted on the side. Tomorrow, Gregory told them, we're going to make an example out of him, drag him out, humiliate him, let everyone see who runs this neighborhood. The men smirked. Easy money, they thought. Just a homeowner, just another civilian. How wrong they were. At precisely 4:17 p.m., Jordan heard the knock, 3 sharp raps that echoed to the quiet halls of his house. He opened the door. On the porch stood 3 men in stiff uniform. Their badges gleamed but too perfectly, like props from a discount store. Behind them, parked in his driveway, was the SUV with bold white letters, HOA Enforcement Division. The tallest of the 3 stepped forward. Sir, you violated multiple HOA ordinances. We're placing you under arrest. Jordan's eyebrows lifted slightly. His voice was deep calm. Arrest? For what? Painting my shutters. The man's lips curled into a sneer. Non-compliant. Disorderly conduct. You can come quietly, or we can make this hard. Behind them, Gregory Holloway stood at the curb, arms crossed, smirk plastered on his face. Neighbors peeked through curtains, some bold enough to stand on porches, phones out, recording. This wasn't just enforcement. This was theater. Most men might have panicked. They might have raised their voice, argued, or pleaded with the crowd to see the injustice. Jordan did none of that. Instead, he studied them the way a hunter studies prey. His gaze flicked from a man's stance to the SUV's license plate to the poorly secured holster hanging at one man's side. He cataloged everything in seconds. You boys sure you know what you're doing? He asked quietly. The men hesitated. Something in his tone wasn't right. It wasn't fear. It was warning. From the sidewalk, Gregory barked. Don't waste time. Drag him out if you need to. He thinks the rules don't apply to him. The tallest officer stepped closer, pulling a pair of handcuffs from his belt. Jordan exhaled slowly. He had seen cartel hitmen with steadier hands. These weren't professional. They were pawns. The fake officer reached out, gripping Jordan's arm. The second his hand touched him, Jordan's posture shifted. Not violently, just enough to make the man freeze. His muscles were taut, controlled, like a coiled spring. His eyes were sharp, unblinking, the eyes of someone who had stared down death before and won. "You sure you want to put your hand there, son?" Jordan asked, his voice calm but edged with steel. The man let go instinctively, unsettled by the authority in his tone. "Stop stalling," Gregory shouted. "Cuff him already." The officer swallowed hard, raised the cuffs again, and stepped forward. Jordan's lips curved into the faintest smile. It was time. Jordan raised his hand, not fast, not threatening, but deliberate. From his pocket, he pulled out a black leather wallet. He flipped it open. The evening sun caught the gold. An FBI badge. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Phones zoomed in. The fake officers froze mid-step. Even Gregory's smug grin faltered, his face draining of color. Jordan's voice was low, sharp enough to cut glass. "You three are impersonating federal officers. That's a felony. And you, Gregory," his eyes locked on the HOA president, "you orchestrated it." The silence that followed was deafening. The tallest officer stammered, We didn't. It's a misunderstanding." Jordan stepped forward, towering over them. His presence was magnetic, commanding, impossible to ignore. "Drop the cuff. Step back. Now." The men obeyed instantly, trembling like boys caught stealing. Jordan placed the badge on a small table by his door, turning it so every neighbor could see. "My name is Special Agent Jordan Cross, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Organized Crime Division." His gaze swept across the men. "And I don't tolerate cowards pretending to be law." The crowd erupted in whispers. "FBI, did you hear that?" "Oh my God." Gregory's finished. Gregory's mouth opened, but no words came out. For the first time in years, the man who ruled Brookstone Estates was silent. Jordan should have felt relief. The impostors were exposed. The crowd had seen the truth. Gregory was humiliated, but something didn't add up. Fake uniform, fake badges, an SUV made to look official. Gregory was arrogant, yes, but this required coordination, money, planning. Jordan's instincts screamed. This wasn't just a petty power play. Someone bigger was behind it. Someone willing to bankroll impersonating federal law enforcement. He narrowed his eyes at Gregory, who was now sweating bullets. "Who gave you those uniforms?" Jordan asked quietly. Gregory stammered, "I don't know what you're talking about. They're just..." Jordan cut him off. Wrong answer. As the imposters backed away, neighbors recorded every second. Gregory tried to retreat, but Jordan's voice boomed across the lawn. "Don't move, Holloway." Gregory froze. Jordan pulled out his phone, not for help, but for confirmation. He typed a code, sent a signal. Somewhere miles away, a secure FBI server logged his call. His silence was cracking, and as the firelight of sunset burned against the mansion rooftop, Jordan knew this was just the beginning. The imposters weren't random. The uniforms weren't a joke. Brookstone Estates wasn't just a neighborhood. It was a battlefield, and the war had just begun. The sun had dipped low, painting Brookstone Estates in hues of orange and red. But no one noticed the beauty of the evening. Every eye was locked on the front yard of house number 47. Neighbors whispered fiercely, their voices blending into a storm of speculation. "He's FBI? Gregory's in trouble now." I knew something was off about those uniforms. Phones still recorded, the digital evidence already racing across social media. The HOA president who once terrified homeowners now looked like a man about to faint. Gregory Holloway's empire of fear was crumbling in real time. But Jordan Cross wasn't smiling. His instincts told him this wasn't just a neighborhood dispute. This was the tip of something darker. The interrogation began. Jordan's voice carried like thunder. "Gregory, where did you get those uniforms?" Gregory's lips trembled. I bought them. Online. Costume store." Jordan's eyes narrowed. His training had taught him to read liars in an instant. Pulse racing, hands twitching, gaze darting. Gregory was lying. Jordan stepped closer, his tall frame casting a shadow over the HOA president. "Wrong answer. Real patch, real gear. That SUV isn't something you buy at Party City." "Who supplied you?" The fake officers, still trembling, exchanged guilty glances. Jordan caught it immediately. He turned his sharp gaze on. "You speak." The shortest one cracked instantly. "It wasn't Gregory. A guy paid us cash, said to follow his lead." Gregory spun. "Shut up. Don't say another word." Jordan's jaw tightened. This was bigger than one man's ego trip. Someone was funding imposters to test federal responses. Jordan tapped the code into his phone again. Within minutes, a sleek black SUV pulled up to the cul-de-sac, this one reel, with reinforced plating and tinted windows. Two agents stepped out, professional and stone-faced. Gasps rippled through the neighbors. This wasn't a prank anymore. This was federal. Jordan didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. His authority was absolute. Take the three into custody, separate them, question them. The agents moved swiftly, cuffing the impostors with real restraint. Gregory shouted, thrashing, "This is illegal. I'm the president of this HOA. You can't do this to me." Jordan's eyes cut into him. "You've impersonated federal officers. You've conspired with unknown parties. You've endangered civilians. You're done, Gregory." For once, Gregory had no comeback. As Gregory was shoved into the SUV, the neighbors whispered louder than ever. "Did you see his face? Years of torment. And now look at him. Agent Cross, he saved us." But Jordan didn't bask in praise. His mind was already chasing thread. The imposters weren't skilled, but their equipment was too convincing. Someone with resources had orchestrated this. Someone who wanted Jordan distracted, exposed, vulnerable. And there was one name Jordan had been tracking quietly for months: Victor Rinaldi, a crime boss with deep roots in real estate scams, money laundering, and suburban infiltration. If Gregory was tied to Rinaldi, Brookstone Estates wasn't just a neighborhood. It was a staging ground. Hours later, under the cover of night, Jordan sat in his study. The flames from the fireplace flickered against his sharp features. Two letters lay on the table in front of him. One, a fake HOA violation. The other, an encrypted FBI memo warning of Rinaldi's expanding influence. They weren't coincidences. They were connected. Jordan dialed a secure line. Gregory Holloway's little stunt wasn't just pettiness. He's tied to something bigger. "Send me everything on Victor, Rinaldi's suburban operation." A voice crackled back. "Cross, be careful. Rinaldi doesn't just play in shadow. He makes people disappear." Jordan's eyes narrowed. Then he picked the wrong neighborhood. At 2 a.m., in an FBI holding cell, Gregory Holloway cracked. Sweat poured down his temples as agents circled him. His smug demeanor was gone. He was a man cornered, desperate. "It wasn't me," he cried. I just wanted to scare him, to put him in his place. But the uniforms, the SUV, that was Rinaldi. He offered them, said it would make the HOA look powerful, said no one would ever question it. The agent across the table leaned forward. And what did he want in return? Gregory's eyes darted. He wanted information on Jordan. He knew Jordan wasn't normal. He knew. The room went still. Jordan had been right. His cover wasn't just cracked. It was shattered. By morning, news had already spread across Brookstone Estate. Videos of the fake arrest had gone viral. Headlines blared. HOA president arrested after impersonating federal officers. But Jordan wasn't celebrating. On his desk lay a dossier on Victor Rinaldi, age 52, criminal empire spanning 3 states, suspected ties to arms trafficking. And now, a new angle, using HOAs as fronts for money laundering and control. Brookstone Estates had been a test, and Jordan had just blown their cover. His phone buzzed. A distorted voice on the other end whispered, "You should have stayed quiet, Agent Cross." The line went dead. Jordan knew then Rinaldi was coming for him. That evening, as the neighborhood settled into uneasy silence, Jordan felt the shift. The air was too still, the shadows too heavy. From his window, he spotted them, 3 black SUVs, unmarked, rolling silently down the street. Men in dark clothing spilled out, moving with precision. Not imposters this time. Professionals. The neighbors panicked. Lights flickering on, blinds snapping shut. Jordan slipped on his holster, adjusted his tie, and stepped onto porch. "You boys lost," he called out, voice steady. The men raised their weapons. But Jordan Cross didn't flint. He had faced worse. And tonight, the hunter would become the hunted. Gunfire erupted, cracking through the peaceful suburban air. Windows shattered. Alarm screamed. Dogs barked wildly. Jordan moved like a shadow, controlled, deliberate. He dove behind his SUV, returned fire with precision, dropping one attacker instantly. Neighbors screamed, ducking for cover. Some recorded from behind blind, their phones capturing history. One assailant tried flanking through a head. Jordan caught him mid-step, disarming him with a brutal twist, slamming him against the pavement. "Who sent you?" Jordan growled. The man coughed, spitting blood. "Rinaldi wants you gone." Jordan's eyes hardened. "Tell him he'll need more men." He dropped the man unconscious. Sirens wailed in the distance. Real ones this time. Within minutes, FBI SUVs screeched into the cul-de-sac, agents flooding the scene. The remaining attackers scrambled, but Jordan had already disabled most of them. Neighbors emerged cautiously, their faces pale, their perfect suburban evening shattered. An FBI commander rushed to Jordan. "Cross, are you all right?" Jordan nodded, scanning the subdued attackers. Rinaldi just declared war. He used Gregory. He used this HOA. But he made one mistake. The commander raised an eyebrow. "And what's that?" Jordan's voice was like steel. He underestimated who lives at house number 47. Days later, Gregory Holloway sat in a courtroom, shackled and pale. The charges stacked against him: conspiracy, impersonation, obstruction. His reign as HOA tyrant was finished. But more importantly, Victor Rinaldi's network was exposed. Raids swept through his property. Safe houses fell. His empire cracked. All because one man refused to bow to a fake badge. Brookstone Estates slowly returned to calm. Lawns were trimmed. Mailboxes painted. But neighbors walked with a new respect, whispering about the man in house number 47. The man who wasn't just a neighbor. He was the most feared FBI agent in the country. They came to his door with fake badges, thinking intimidation would break him. Instead, they uncovered a truth more dangerous than they ever imagined. Jordan Cross wasn't just a homeowner. He was justice in flesh and blood. And while Brookstone Estates would heal from its scars, one thing was certain. No matter where darkness hid, in the alleys of a city or the cul-de-sacs of suburbia, there were agents like Jordan, watching, waiting, ready to strike. And to those who thought they could control him, they learned the hard way. You don't arrest the FBI. Like, share, comment, and subscribe for awesome and more engaging videos.